Alright, Hawk versus WFZ. Map is Last Refuge.
Ready to work.
Standard build order for Hawk here. I guess he's gonna get Archmage or Mountain King. We have the Death Knight for WFC and there's an Archmage for Hawk, so standard hero. Let's put the normal speed as we see the first footman in production while the Acolyte is doing some standard scouting. And I'm assuming this Death Knight... Actually, I don't know if he's gonna creep this one first or go for the instant arrest, because there is basically two different approaches that undeads can use. Both can work. You can either go for the instant arrest, while Hawk is killing the ship. He's trying to pull the golem. He's gonna go for the instant arrest because he sees that Hawk wants to do this camp. That can be severely punished here. Of course, first you have to focus the Troll High Priest here to remove the healing. You can grab the Shadow Priest easily. This camp is very easy to do if you don't get harassed. But versus Undead, I'm not so sure. Let's see how much WFC can do here. You will never be able to take down the Golem before the Undead arrives. However, it's almost falling, and of course you can't coil it, so that's an easy level 2. Losing one peasant, this is gonna be the second peasant down, but WFZ decides to coil the creep instead, so gonna be able to save that one peasant, but not this. Really save this peasant? Really? No. Okay. So one peasant lost to the creep, second peasant lost to the Death Knight and the skeletons. Third peasant is gonna go down easily with Frostworm, Frostmurn, right? Jesus, Frostmurn is the name of this word. So confusing. Frostworms, Frostmurn, Frost Armor. Everything is frost for the undead race, basically. While the Death Knight is closing on the level 2 here easily. But the progress on the Archmage is very good. The only problem is that the items sucks. Because he got useless Boots of Keltalas +6. And obviously agility item that doesn't really serve the Archmage. And this expansion is quite late if you ask me. Of course that's to be expected if you creep the Mercamp first, but tech is almost finished for the undead, so it's gonna have the Leech very soon. And this expansion is still not up yet. Double Glows of Haste for the Archmage. The right clicks are pretty good. If he had the Claws of Attack, this Archmage would be very strong, but of course he got double glows, so I think like glows and claws would be better than double claws, but the double gloves. And now Hawk is moving towards the undead base to do some harass, to go for the acolytes, maybe to go for the ghouls. Whatever you can kill in the undead base is going to be appreciated, but there's always the Frost, the Slow Tower, the Nerubian Tower to deal with. Can he creep this camp? That's dangerous, because the undead is moving, yeah, it's contesting this camp, so Hawk is pulling the creep, but it's going to be contested here, even though the undead only has 2 fiends to work with. But the Leech is about to come, and we don't have any disable for Hawk since of course it's expanding, so there's no Mountain King arriving anytime soon. And who's gonna get the Ogre Magi here? Looks like Hawk is gonna get it. I'm not sure who got the creep actually. Death Knight is almost level 3. But Hawk is almost level 4. That's gonna be a big upgrade to have additional mana with the level 2 Brilliant Sura, but of course level 3 Death Knight is a big deal. Look at that coil, and that's only a coil, we don't have a Nova yet, but now there's a Lich. And this Archmage needs to retreat absolutely because he can't get focus. And tech has started for Hawk, we now have a lumber mill, so the question is, will he be able to survive the push that's about to come? Do we have meat wagons? No, we have statues of course. First you get the statue, and then you might add 1 or 2 meat wagons if you need them to siege the towers, but only 1 arcane and an additional scout tower in production. There's a lot of skeletons for the undead here, 4 fiends. At this point of the game it's extremely hard to even kill a unit for the human, as you don't have any means to disable these fiends and block them and lock them down. Maybe you can get the Muddy the Mod Golem, and with Muddy you can slow them and then kill them, but without that you can't really kill anything because Unholy Aura is so good. These fiends are so fast, and there's always a coil. Actually it does have 2 coils to save those fiends, so the less you can engage the better, because there's no point engaging against this type of army. You can't really do anything. More towers in production for Hawk, both at the expo and at the main, as it should be, to not give the undead any easy point to attack. We have a blacksmith in production, while the undead WFT is going for a tier 3 obviously, building an additional ziggurat here, and it's not doing too much. It's not doing too much actually. It didn't do anything to Hawk's economy. It's just mining happily, buying time for himself, even getting a fiend maybe. Coil has to be invested of course, and Archmage needs to take care. Does he have defense, by the way? I don't know. But tier 2 is almost done, and Hawk could even get a Naga here to slow down those fiends and maybe kill 1 or 2 of them. More like 1. So the question is, does he want to have an edge? Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. He gets the Naga, good choice, good call. And I was about to say, does he want to have an edge immediately, or does he prefer to have a hero that scales better in the late game? So the Mountain King would be better in the late game, much better than the Naga. Even though we see a lot of Naga with mass orbs of fire and stuff like that, so the Naga can work as well. The problem with the Mountain King is you need to wait that additional time before it comes out of the altar, and you need the second hero immediately because your tech is already late when you expand. So the Naga gives you that boost, that lockdown that you need with the slow. But it didn't get much done with the Naga so far. It didn't kill a single fiend, because there was a nice burrow by WFZ, and Hawk didn't have the dust. Also it doesn't have a TP, so he needs to be careful here, because without the TP you cannot really escape from the Nerubian Tower, and oh, the Archmage might actually die here. There's a TP by WFZ. Ah, but there was a TP on the Naga, and it was passed at the last second to the Archmage. Naga survives, and I feel like Hawk should go here at the laboratory right now. That's just the best investment of time we can do in this moment. Get a level 2 Naga. He should buy another town portal because WFT is moving forward. It's not counter expanding though, and we have tier 3 almost done. More than halfway through. First priest for some healing, then breaker. I like that 1 priest. Oh, actually we have double sanctum. Double sanctum production. Oh, and it's the Naga with the mass orbs of fire strategy. You see the double shop. So he's doing it. He's doing the troll strategy, which is not a troll strategy anymore since we see it more and more often. It seems like it does actually work. But nice creep check here by WFT. We have a Dark Ranger now in the field, killing more and more water elementals, absolutely useless at this stage of the game since you don't have any copters. Hawk doesn't. And I feel like he needs a workshop. I always say that the most important building versus undead is the workshop, by far. You cannot play without workshop. Unless you go for Triple Hero Mass Griffons with Priest and Inner Fire with rifles, and then maybe you can still kill the destroyers, but I feel like even if you have mass rifles you still need the copters versus the destroyers because you cannot kite with the rifles, they are too slow. While if you have the copters you can easily chase down the destroyers, making it a lot harder for the undead to kite you. So when you see destroyers, always get copter, really. Three breakers now for Hawk. Priest gets easily focused down by the Coil Nova, as we have a level 3 Leech already with good inventory and the greater invulnerability potion. So we have double invul for WFT, a normal one, a standard one and a big one. No invuls on Hawk's side, and that's kind of bad. Because yes, this Naga already plots 20 damage with the double Glows of Haste, a little bit more armor with the boots, but no healing, no invul. Paladin can be easily focused down as he doesn't have Divine Shield yet, and he is there just for the Holy Lights. Look at the right clicks into the Dark Ranger. Coil at the last second by WFT. But this army for Hawk doesn't look really big so far. However, it only needs to hold this push as more and more units will be in production. Look at the right clicks of the Naga into the Death Knight. She does a lot of damage. Problem is she's only level 1, she needs those levels because the level 2 Frost Arrow will be so good. This Knight is rallied towards the expansion. Nice move to wreck the Acolytes, because WFT went for the counter expansion, is already mining actually. More and more right clicks towards the Death Knight. There's a TP of course. And it's extremely hard to chase down the Unholy Aura for the human. It needs like an item, like a... If he could get the Resistance Aura, it would be so good for him. The Endurance Aura. And he needs levels, both on the Paladin and the Naga. But he doesn't have a lot of gold to produce. He's still at 59 food, and a lot of this supply is actually peasants, because he never got a shredder. He never got himself a shredder, so keep in mind a lot of this supply is just peasants. Peasants, peasants, peasants. So this doesn't look like a 60 food army at all. This doesn't even look like a 50 food army in fact. Maybe with the knight, yeah, but really small army for Hawk, certainly not able to compete with this type of army, much bigger for the undead, with the 69 food already, and there's no way that Hawk can win a fight right now. He needs more supply. He needs mass production. And I feel like a shredder absolutely necessary in this matchup if you expand. Yeah, it costs 375, but then you don't have to build all of these peasants, you just increase your supply. But it does have a lot of wood, and it does have level 2 on the Naga now, level 2 on the Paladin. Question is, how is he gonna deal with these 3 Abominations? And by the way, we have an amazing item for the undead, Warzone Battle Drums. I don't know how he's supposed to deal with those abominations. Breakers are gonna get read by the Disease Cloud. We don't have Disease Cloud, by the way. Oh, get that upgrade. It's a good... Not a single Griffon. We don't even have the Aviary, so... Yeah. I feel like Abominations are gonna be a big problem here. We have 4 of them. Only 1 destroyer, but it's like the dream undead army, perfect undead army. 1 destroyer for the dispel, 2 statues for the healing, 5 fiends for the damage, and 4 abominations to block. He's only lacking the disease cloud. I don't see how Hawk can possibly win this fight, but let's see. Losing more and more peasants, focusing down the Lich, but of course there's a coil, so I feel like anytime I focus the Lich I'm wasting my time usually. But look at the right clicks on the Dark Ranger, it's forcing the invul, but Hawk is losing everything. Like I said, he has no answer to those abominations. And this fight, in my opinion, was already lost before it started. Just the unit composition for the undead is just superior. And that's the big problem versus undead, you need the whole tech. I always say that you need the whole tech to beat undead. And that doubled Sanctum... it's not really the best option. I feel like you always need double Gryphon Aviary versus undead. At least 2 Gryphon Aviaries and the workshop. Probably a combination of Griffons and Copters is the best to deal versus undead. But of course it can be countered by Banshees. So if you go mass Griffons, the undead can get Banshees and mass anti-magic shell to heavily reduce your magic damage. So there's a counter for that build as well.
Job done. Job done. Job done.
But still, Griffons are the only thing that
Job done.
really works versus abominations. And if you can kill the fiends before you get wept, if you can get rid of the fiends with a few knights and the water elementals and your Mountain King or your Naga, then the Griffons will easily clean the statues. Griffons are amazing versus the statues and the abominations. So really, I feel like anytime you manage to expand versus undead, you should get those Griffons. Otherwise, you just cannot chew through those abominations, even though they have 0 upgrades. But yeah, WFT is in the perfect position here, even as like a 80 food army. 80 food of undead army with 4 versus level 4-2. Like, this fight shouldn't be even close. And still no aviary. Ah, now is building them finally. As I told you. But it's too late. The damage has been done by the undead. And even getting a couple of Griffons right now won't do too much. We have a lot of fiends. And too many abominations. The only way you could possibly win this fight if you have like 6 or 8 Griffons and chew through anything with the upgrades, but at this stage of the game there's really nothing it can do anymore. This Archmage is gonna get focused down. And Hawk is not killing a single unit. WFC at 84. Now town portaling out to counter what? Ah, the knight that was raping here the undead's economy. It was killing the undead's economy. Of course, Hawk is staying in this game because he still has double income, but not for long. And he's not creeping anything. This camp goes to WFT. More Griffons though, more Griffons. With 2-0 upgrades, so maybe if he gets like 8. He has to reveal this Fiend here. I should place a farm here and reveal. Look at this undead army, it's insane. Now we even have 2 destroyers. The only way he could possibly win this fight is with a 20 supply advantage. If he had 100 food army, maybe. But 80 food versus 80 food will never work. Also, hero levels are too low for Hawk. Nice focus fire on the Death Knight. First Fiend is falling. Look at the power of the Griffons. That's what I'm talking about when I say Griffons are good. At least he was able to kill easily a couple of units. But it's too late. Maybe if he kills the Death Knight and removes the healing. He's calling the militia, but looks kinda desperate. He's focusing down the Fiends. The third Fiend is falling, but Hawk is losing a lot. He's already down at 66. And WFC is still at 79 as the Paladin gets focused down. He's silenced. He cannot use the Divine Shield, and Archmage falls. And I think the GG will come out soon. Tough game for the human. Undead losing like 1 unit. Ah.